Chapter 5. A different kind of support. That night, Sarah came over with a bag of Thai takeout and a bottle of sparkling water. "I know you're not drinking," Sarah said, kicking off her heels and sitting cross-legged on the rug. "But I figured you needed bubbles of some kind." Elena took the cold bottle. She had only managed to keep the secret for an hour after the Sterling meeting. Sarah had cornered her on the sidewalk outside the townhouse, refusing to hail a cab until she knew the truth behind the change in Elena's demeanor. When Elena had finally whispered the truth, she remembered the way Sarah's face had shifted, the shock melting instantly into a protective resolve. Sarah hadn't asked, "What will you do?" or "Does Julian know?" She had simply pulled Elena into a hug so tight it made her ribs ache, whispering, "Okay, we got this. We figure it out." Elena sat opposite her, grateful for the easy acceptance. The apartment was clean but sparse. There were no 17th century landscapes here, only the blueprints tacked to the wall and a few swatches of fabric scattered on the floor. "It's small," Sarah said, looking around. She didn't say it with judgment, but with a protective frown. "Elena, are you sure about this? You could have taken the penthouse on Park. Julian wouldn't have fought you on it." "I don't want the penthouse," Elena said, opening a container of pad thai. "I want a space I can clean myself. I want to know where the light switch is without needing a manual. I want control," Sarah suggested. "Quiet," Elena corrected. "I just want quiet." Sarah watched her carefully. "You have the quiet, but you also have circles under your eyes that are dark enough to bruise. You're running a firm and growing a human at the same time. You need to let someone carry a box once in a while." "I'm fine, Sarah." "You're stubborn." Sarah shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. "It's a family trait, isn't it? Right next to the good bone structure and the inability to ask for help." A few days later, Sarah's warning felt less like advice and more like a prophecy. Elena walked out of a client presentation. As the heavy glass doors swung shut behind her, she felt the crushing weight of the week land on her shoulders. The meetings had drained out of her, leaving her shivering on the curb. She didn't head for her studio. Instead, she took a cab toward her new neighborhood for her first OB appointment. She had chosen a doctor specifically because his office was only 4 blocks from her new apartment in the West Village. Also, the office belonged to the same prestigious medical group she had used for years. She needed her life to be small, manageable, and close to home. This is a perfect fit, or so she thought. The waiting room of Dr. Adrian Eris was busy, but the lighting was soft and warm, designed to soothe rather than inspect. Elena sat on the edge of a velvet chair. Her phone buzzed against her thigh, and she glanced down at the screen. "Mother." The name flashed like a warning light. Elena stared at it, her thumb moving over to the decline button. She knew her mother would sense something was wrong the moment she picked up. Her mother was a woman who had weathered the storm of the Vance bankruptcy with a steely dignity, protecting Elena from the worst of the fallout. That was exactly why Elena couldn't answer. For the last 7 years, Elena's marriage to Julian had been the only thing that went right for the Vances. She was the one who was safe and taken care of. If she told her mother about the divorce, she would see that familiar look in her eyes. It wouldn't be judgment, but a deep sorrow for her daughter's pain. Elena couldn't handle that. "Don't be sad for me," Elena thought as the phone stopped buzzing. "And, well, don't be happy for me either." "Elena." A man in a white coat stood at the door. He looked to be about Julian's age, but he wasn't wearing a suit. He had a kind, tired face. "I'm Dr. Eris," he said, holding the door open for her. "Come on in." In his office, Dr. Eris sat down and looked at her file. He looked at her and asked, "How are you feeling today, Elena?" Elena paused. "I'm tired," she said honestly, "and my back hurts." "That makes sense," he said. "I see you've changed doctors recently. Is everything okay with your support system at home? Do you have someone to help you with the heavy lifting or the cooking?" Elena looked at her lap. "It's just me," she said quietly. "I'm handling the apartment on my own." Dr. Eris didn't look shocked or pitying. He just nodded slowly. "I see. That is a lot to handle at once. We will need to keep a close eye on your stress levels as well as your blood pressure." He led her to the exam room for the ultrasound. He put the cold gel on her stomach and moved the plastic wand around. Suddenly, a fast, rhythmic sound filled the room. Thump 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 thump. In the past, Elena would have looked at Julian to see if he was smiling. She would have reached for his hand. Now, the chair beside her was empty. She looked at the screen. The baby was a small, bright shape in the dark. Strong heart. Dr. Eris said softly, "You are doing a good job, Elena. Your body is doing exactly what it needs to do. You are providing a safe place for this life." Elena finally felt her shoulders drop. Hearing that the baby was doing well felt like the first real breath she had taken in weeks. As she was leaving, Dr. Eris handed her a small business card. "That's my direct line to the office. If you have a question, or if you just feel overwhelmed, call." Elena put the card in her hand. Support, she thought, doesn't always have to come from where you expected it to. She didn't call her mother back. As she walked toward her empty apartment, she slid her thumb over the edge of the card. The silence of the West Village streets didn't feel lonely tonight. It felt peaceful. The only sound that mattered was the one echoing in her memory, a fast, steady rhythm that proved that even in this empty city, she wasn't truly alone.